your recent Game of Thrones news update, which also includes minor spoilers about the Game of Thrones prequel about the long night called Blood Moon for now, or at least codename. Nothing too crazy, so no worries. Okay, so first I actually want to talk about Grey Worm's actor Jacob, who shared what we've all been saying for a while now. The Unsullied and Grey Worm are definitely going to die when they go to the island of Noth because of the butterflies that to non-natives give you a plague that makes your flesh fall from your bones. And I recently did a video on that, so you can watch that. So on that, Jacob stated, "Yeah, but that's a book thing. It's not in the show. I mean, actually, do you know what? I want to spread the word that David and Dan told me that's real, and the Unsullied are just going to die straight away as soon as they get there. Yeah, quote me. What actually happens is Grey Worm dies a horrible death by butterflies." That's also been my headcanon, Jacob, so I'm glad that you just want to spread that shit throughout the world, because I would love if Missandei the entire time was keeping mum about the butterflies killing non-natives, and she's like, "Yeah, take me back to Noth." Next, Grey Worm's actor Jacob talked about how he thinks it's a shame that there were mixed reviews about the ending of the show. So he said, "I feel like not everybody is going to love everything. There's no way to make everybody happy. It's a shame when people say something is good or bad with complete resolve anyways. It's subjective. Storytelling is subjective. It's fine if people don't like it. Some other people did." Which honestly, yeah, I never really understood how hard of a time people have accepting other people's opinions until having a YouTube channel. I mean, I knew the big things. People like to kill each other over or be vicious to each other over, like skin color or religion and stuff, but I never realized how petty people were about things as simple as, "Oh, I like this music," or "Oh, I like this color," or "Oh, I like this TV show," or "Oh, I like this character." It's pretty insane, especially from where I sit, where if I like something someone doesn't, I'm a shill. And if I hate something someone likes, I'm just a hater or petty or jealous. It's really interesting to see the amount of people that just can't step back and go, "Oh, well, you obviously like this thing because of your personality or your certain life experiences or just how it resonates with you." And that's fine. But I don't like it, and that's okay. That doesn't devalue my opinion, and it doesn't devalue yours, but not a lot of people can think that way, I think, and it's scary. I think basically what it is a lot of people are very insecure about themselves and their worldviews and their opinions, and anything that challenges that has to be attacked. So it makes for an interesting world, I will just say that. Although Jacob also commented on whether it was impossible for D&D to end the series in a way that everybody would like it. He said, "Yes, completely. I think the boys ended it how they wanted to end it." Which they definitely did. Jacob also shared his thoughts on Grey Worm becoming an asshole at the end. "It was quite fun to play, though. That scene where I had to stare everybody down, that kind of trial, was a nightmare because we're all bad at keeping straight faces. I'm probably the worst, so having to look into Joe Dempsey's, Gendry's eyes and not die laughing was really difficult." I'm actually surprised Grey Worm wasn't more of a dick. I know he was a little more firm with them, but I don't know. I might actually have stayed there to watch Jon go to the wall and stared him down the entire time. Next, Richard, who played Robb in the show before he was viciously murdered, talked about how he was glad he was killed in the Red Wedding instead of going all the way to the end. So he said, "It was such a hard thing to finish because from the first pilot to my death was 5 years. The 5 years was a great time to be on the show. It helped me so much with my career and experience. I learned a lot from shooting 30 hours of television. You really start to learn the trade doing that. And then I was thankful to leave it." He then praised people that made it from start to finish, saying, "You guys need an award, and that was a marathon," which I absolutely agree with, and you see kind of the mental struggle the younger actors who grew up on the show had to deal with, and it is really sad, but at the same time, rewarding. It's kind of a weird mixture. Next, Missandei's actress Natalie reiterated how much she loved how her character went out, stating, "In that last scene, you felt her fear but also her strength and her bravery. I loved the fuck you moment she had, right at the very end. I was really proud of it." She also thinks Grey Worm and Missandei had one of the greatest love stories, but like some great love stories, they don't always end happily, which definitely that one didn't. Especially if Grey Worm then goes to Noth and dies by his flesh falling off his bones. Next, we have an update on the Starbucks Cup scandal. David Nutter, one of the directors who worked on the final season of Game of Thrones and honestly was one of the best directors they ever had, shared he wasn't responsible. He said, "The first thing I said was they had changed an angle of the take, so I wasn't there when they changed it, so I didn't blame myself, which was good, and then I looked to see if it was maybe mine. It wasn't. But I think the show is so damn perfect in many respects that people love to find the blemishes." I'll update you when we have more information on the Starbucks Cup controversy. Next, I want to talk about leaks for the Long Night prequel called, or codenamed, Blood Moon as of right now. Thanks to Irish Thrones and Blood Moon locations in real life's Twitter, we have some photos of where they're shooting, which, by the way, they began shooting in Northern Ireland at the Marble Arch Caves today, or a few days after when I publish this video. I never really know when I'm gonna publish it. So this week, they started this week. First, in the back of Titanic Studios, we got a look at a rock cliff, which some believe is being used as a mini cave system. HBO has a lot more experience with the spoilers game, and is using a green screen to stop us from seeing too much, though. As it is also being reported they are filming at the Marble Arch Caves June 17th to 26th, this makes the cave system theory all the more likely. As the Children of the Forest were very important to the Long Night, we'd expect to see them hiding out somewhere. Naomi Watts, one of the actresses that will be in the prequel pilot, also said in a recent interview, "Hopefully those fans come along and get to find something new and interesting in this world as well. I think they won't be let down. It's a great team of people they've put together." So probably just generic actor hype, but we'll see. I'm still excited about the Long Night prequel, even though I feel like the other prequel shows they're working on might be a little bit better. The Long Night isn't the first thing I would think of to want, but I'll give it a shot. I'll give it a chance. Alright, next, Lena, Cersei's actress, shared that she wasn't happy with how Cersei went out, and she actually shared what she would say to showrunners D&D if she was drunk. She said, "I will say I wanted a better death. Obviously you dream of your death. You could go in any way on that show. So I was kind of gutted. But I just think they couldn't have pleased everyone. No matter what they did, I think there was going to be some big come down from the climb." And if you remember my other news videos, or maybe you read this yourself, where Lena said she was really hoping Arya would be the one to kill Cersei, and even when she was reading the script that Jaime comes to her at the end, she was thinking, oh my gosh, she's going to have her face ripped off, and instead of Jaime, it's going to be Arya, but it never happened, and she was really let down. Did I say she for Jaime? I'm not correcting it now. What is it the kids say? YOLO? Actually, I don't think the people that said that are kids anymore. If you haven't seen the Beautiful Death posters, you absolutely should, but recently we got some more inside information about the final Beautiful Death poster for the final episode of the final season. "I wanted to show Daenerys' wider story arc that her path to the throne has been one of bloodshed, as has every major character's, and that ultimately the idea of her sitting on the throne was illusionary. I wanted to show that the ultimate villain is the Iron Throne, so I wanted to make it look as gothic as possible, lots of black. And then I picked up Daenerys' line about the throne being made from 1,000 swords. Now, I didn't manage to draw 1,000, but I implied the multitude of swords that had been lay at her feet, in allegiance over the course of her journey." Seriously, if you are not familiar with the Beautiful Death series, just Google it, look at them. They are so, so gorgeous. This next bit of news is a little bit old, so you probably already know it, but the Game of Thrones composer talked a bit about what certain songs meant for different characters in the final season, and it seriously was just a dagger in my heart. So because the composer for Game of Thrones wants to put so many daggers in our heart, He put the song from Rob and Talisa's wedding, I Am Hers, She Is Mine, into the scene where Brienne was writing Jaime's deeds in the White Book. He revealed, I just threw that in there because I thought it would be a subtle nod to their relationship. When she sits there and she thinks about him and writes down all the things he had done, the second half is the honor theme. But yeah, a big chunk of that song is the wedding theme. It's just a hint of what their relationship, if they had stayed together, if he was still alive, what it could have been, what they could have become. That's why I put that in there. I was amazed some people picked up on it. I was hoping people would go, wait a minute, that's from season 2, and that was exactly my intent. I thought it would be very appropriate. Cool, just fuck me up, fam. He also shared what D&D told him to do when creating Jon and Dany's love theme. They said, okay, this needs to be a really romantic theme, but make sure that it's a love theme that can imply complications. That's how they started me out. They said things turn differently and things go wrong. Lastly, he talked about the music for Jon leaving the Night's Watch with the wildlings in the final episode. The idea is really that he hopes and he looks back and then the main title starts and it's the idea of a new beginning. It's supposed to be positive. The fact that there are children around and other people, he's not just by himself. Originally, he was with the Night's Watch, and you're not allowed to have a wife and children and all that. But this is him going out there with the wildlings, and you can interpret it like he's starting a new life. He's a changed man, and he's leaving the past behind, and so it's definitely supposed to be something positive. There are many possibilities now. That's how we can look at it. I know some people still think that Jon wasn't actually leaving the Night's Watch and just escorting the wildlings out, but and you're welcome to your own opinion, I don't care. I still believe Jon went with the wildlings to have some fun adventures and bang lots of wildling chicks. Lastly, I just want to share a little bit of information from a Game of Thrones director for the final season. Spoknik, the director for The Long Night, who wanted to kill everyone in the Long Night battle. So here's some of the cool stuff he said, first starting with how he wanted to kill everyone. I wanted to kill everyone. I wanted to kill Jorah in the horse charge at the beginning. I was up for killing absolutely everyone. I wanted it to be ruthless, so that in the first 10 minutes you say, all bets are off. Anyone could die, and David and Dan didn't want to. There was a lot of back and forth on that. He also shared that we almost got a huge dire wolf battle attacking Viserion. There were many things that happened that people would have been so happy to have happened. Attack of dire wolves and crazy stuff. At some point you're like, 50 dire wolves attacking an undead dragon does not a good movie make. No, I actually would have loved 50 dire wolves going ham on a undead dragon. Okay, so that's some Game of Thrones news for now. More videos are coming out. I'm also working on Dune, The Witcher series, more A Song of Ice and Fire, Game of Thrones, lore and history videos, Lord of the Rings, and more. Just, you gotta be patient with me. Or don't be. I mean, you do you. Literally and figuratively.